Hey you guys, how you doing? Sorry I haven't been on here for the last two Mondays. Um,
If you black, press that like button, comment. We in here and share it around so everybody can do it. Everybody.
all right. Um, Sorry I haven't been in here lately. Because I was sick, but I'm back on Monday night at 8:30 with my live talk show. Called Make a Change. Basically, pretty much what I do is discuss topic related to COVID and this vaccine, and also address other issues as well. Um, Today's topic basically going to be about the vaccine and stuff like that because I did some little research on the vaccine, pretty much where I called the FDA to ask questions and some of the stuff that I would that was told to me in regards to the vaccine. I found it very disturbing. And so that was one of the reasons why I just like kind of wanted to have this topic in regards to the vaccine. So today, also I want to talk about this new Delta strain of COVID because I find it very disturbing when I called the hospital today and asked how what type of kit what do they use to test people for the Delta COVID, and pretty much it's the regular PCP testing for the regular COVID. I was informed by her, the nurse that I was at the hospital, that there's no way that the test can prove that if you have the Delta COVID or any strain of COVID, it's only test for the coronavirus. So, what type of coronavirus do you have? It will not be able to tell you. No one will be able to tell you because the tests itself don't test for those things. And pretty much she informed me that uh, the Delta strain of COVID, the symptoms is the same symptoms as the regular COVID. So now I get to the question of saying, how did they get these numbers of Delta COVID um, that are coming into the hospitals if they don't have a kit or testing to test people for the Delta strain to know if they have the Delta strain of COVID. So now it comes to mind of saying that, are those numbers really accurate of what we've been seeing as far as on the news and everything else? Because she specifically, and I'll say, well, if you don't have a kit to test me to determine whether or not I may have the regular COVID or the Delta COVID, then how do you know that these people have the Delta COVID? And she specifically told me there's no way we would know if the person have the Delta COVID or any other strain of COVID because the COVID PCP test only tests for the regular COVID. This is exactly coming from her mouth. So when I called the FDA in regards to the vaccine and asking them why haven't they fully approved the vaccine, because a lot of people have been skeptical about getting the vaccine due to a lot of people reporting major side effects when it comes to the vaccine. Also, people have been hospitalized, and also with the that was fully vaccinated, and there has been a lot of breakthrough cases of people that are fully vaccinated. So I asked her the question. I said, "Well, can you please give me some information and about why haven't you guys fully um, approved the vaccine?" And she really stated to me that the vaccines are a clinical trial based vaccine, phase 3 clinical trial based vaccine. And pretty much they need more data in regards to the vaccine to make sure that it's safe and effective. This is what she said. Then she turned around to say, "Oh, we know that it's fully safe and effective." And I said, "Well, have you taken initiative of the people that has been reporting like death of people that was fully vaccinated and major health problem due to the vaccine?" And she said that was just 1%. So, and she said it was okay to have 1% of people, and there was over like 300 million people that took in the vaccine. So she was clearly telling me that it's okay for those. So she clearly told me that it was okay because that 1% normally other vaccine had the same reaction. And this is what she told me. And so I said to her, I say, "Do you think is," I say, "can we agree to disagree that majority of the people that are being hospitalized with the Delta COVID are not just unvaccinated people?" And she was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Well, do you agree with the federal mandation to mandate people to be vaccinated on a vaccine that you guys haven't officially approved this vaccine?" And and I think I was like, it would make sense if you guys would have had officially approved it, because then that will ease everybody else's mind when it comes to the vaccine. But she clearly stated that they're still in a clinical trial based phase 3 when it comes to the vaccine. And I say, so should you say that people should have the authorities to wait to see? And she was like, "Well, we have this Delta strand that is supposed to be potent and spreading around fast. So that's the reason why they needed to get everybody vaccinated and stuff like that." So when I called the hospital today, because I asked her to say, of course, I said, "Well, what type of kit or test that you guys use to know that people are positive with the Delta coronavirus, the strain of the Delta coronavirus?" And she was like, she didn't know. So I had to go to another, I guess, to the equipment that they use for the coronavirus. So I was on hold and hold and hold and hold and hold. And I guess I never did get to talk to them. So I decided to check the hospital to see how many actual patients that was coming into the hospital that was for Delta coronavirus. But the one guy, he was like getting really smart with me, so he didn't want to answer the question. And he was like, "Well, that's a HIPAA violation." I said, "Well, I didn't ask of the patient's information. I just want to know the number of people that are coming into the hospital are people that has been hospitalized. Pretty much I want to know the numbers of cases that are coming into your hospital for the strain of the Delta COVID, because the CDC and the health department, they get this information from you guys of what you're reporting that are coming into your hospital. And I know that hospitals are always going to be capacitated because you have people coming in there with heart problems, strokes, car accident, all types of problems. So it's just not the people that are coming in there with the Delta COVID. So the lady that I spoke to today informed me that they don't have a specific test to test you to know if you have the Delta COVID. So I say once again, how are they getting these information that these hospitals are capacitated with people that are in the hospital with the Delta COVID if you don't have the equipment to test them for the Delta COVID to say if they actually have the Delta COVID? So now that leads us back to the database that has been presented on the news through the CDC that are saying that, hey, these hospitals are overcapacitated because of the Delta, and it's spreading like wildfire. Well, how would we know that if you don't have a test to prove that these people have the Delta COVID? So how do we know if it's spreading like wildfire? How we even know that there is a new strain of Delta COVID if there's no kit to prove? If there's no kit to prove any other strain of any coronavirus, it only gonna prove that you were tested positive for coronavirus, but it can't tell you what Delta strain, what strain of the COVID that you have. So how do we actually know that these people are hospitalized or the Delta COVID is spreading like wildfire if you don't have a kit to officially to test them to say if they have the Delta COVID? So is it possible to say that you're giving misinformation to the public to make it seem like these hospitals are being overcapacitated with Delta COVID just so you guys can mandate people to be vaccinated? Because you know a lot of people have a major concern and they're not wanting to be vaccinated, you know. And I was like, when I talked to the FDA lady, I said, well, do you think that it would be possible if you guys would take in consideration of the people that are coming out and reporting, because this is a clinical trial based vaccine, because you said it yourself. So that means that the people that are getting vaccinated, they're a part of this clinical trial. So if they're a part of this clinical trial base, because exactly what it is, if the vaccine is a clinical trial vaccine, that means these people that are getting vaccinated is part of this clinical trial. So if you are still studying the database in regards to the vaccine, does it make sense that you will hear the people that have been fully vaccinated and hear their concerns as to them reporting to you of their side effects that they're having due to the vaccine? Shouldn't you be taking that in consideration to say, hey, let's take a step back? Should you have taken into consideration that people that are fully vaccinated are still able to get COVID and they're still able to pass it around? So now they're telling you that you may boost a shot because of the Delta COVID. And like I said before, these are factual information because I called myself and I got this information from the people in the hospital who works in the hospital on COVID unit, and they're testing people every single day for COVID, so they would know. So I don't feel that they would give inaccurate information, being that they are working in the hospital, even though some people have been paid to come out and say that the hospital has been capacitated with the Delta COVID, when obviously they don't have a kit or anything to test you for the Delta COVID strain to even know whether or not you have tested positive for the Delta COVID. I'm not saying like COVID is not real. I'm just saying, like, how do you get these numbers? These are the questions that we need answers to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're asking us to comply with getting vaccinated, then it's more than right that we get the knowledge that we need, the information that we're asking, in base, so we can feel comfortable to say, hey, we want to get vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? I don't think nobody wants to walk around to get COVID. I do not think that. I think everybody wants to get vaccinated, but they just want to make sure, if I'm going to get vaccinated and I'm getting vaccinated because I want to prevent from getting COVID, that's the reason why I'm getting vaccinated, not to get vaccinated and still be able to get COVID and still be able to spread it. Because the whole reason for them to even come up with this vaccine is to stop the spread of COVID and to stop people from getting COVID. That was the whole major ordeal, as far as my understanding. Also, we showed you clips to where when the COVID came, when the vaccine was first made and Donald Trump was in the chair, we had a lot of Democrat parties saying that they would not take a vaccine that was made so quickly and they don't have enough research on. And let me be clear that these are the same vaccine that we're having today, because these are the same Moderna and Pfizer vaccine that came out up under Donald Trump. But these are the same vaccine now today that they're trying to mandate people to be vaccinated with. And so I asked the lady again, I said, do you think that it is fair to mandate people to participate in a clinical trial, to be an experiment to a clinical trial vaccine, that you guys really don't have enough database to say whether or not it is effective and it is safe, because it's still in the clinical trial base? If it was so effective and safe, then why is it still in the clinical trial base? Why haven't you fully say, okay, we can fully approve this vaccine because we have all the data to show that it is effective and it is safe, so we can go ahead and approve it so people can get the vaccine to stop the spread? And she was like, well, the vaccine, when it was originally made, it was for the regular coronavirus. It was not made to design for the Delta. But if you realize, when they had these other strains of, I guess, the UK strain and other strains of COVID, and they was telling us that, hey, these vaccine was good towards those strains. But now she's saying because of the Delta has come in the UA and it has spread like a wildfire, the vaccine is not, I guess, strong enough for the Delta. But let me remind you once again, they do not have a test to test you to say whether or not you have the Delta or any other strain of COVID. They only can test you to say if you're positive or not for the coronavirus, but they don't have anything to prove whether or not you have any other strain of the COVID. So let me be clear of that. So my question again, like because I keep asking these questions because I think it's more than right that people should know. I feel like if you're going to mandate people to be vaccinated, then you should be able to answer every question that they may have, because now they're in a state to where I may lose my job if I don't get vaccinated. I may lose my government benefits if I don't get vaccinated. So now I'm in a state to where, okay, I'm not really comfortable being vaccinated. So I think it's no more than right no more than right to answer all the questions that people have, when it comes to the vaccine and stuff like that. So this is why I do my research and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people, but it's okay if you want to disagree. But the facts are the facts, and the facts do not lie; they tell the truth. And if you're asking questions and you do your research on these things, then you will know why. Hey, to my moderators, can y'all let anybody know here that I am pretty much on my talk show, so I am not going to be accepting anybody on live. I'm just going live so you guys can be in on me while I'm on my talk show. So my moderators, if I have anyone in here, okay, my boss, you're back as a moderator. I'm sorry about that. Probably was some kind of confusion. But anyways, for my moderators, please welcome anybody that come in the chat room. Do let them know that I will not be able to accept them on my live screen because I'm basically on my talk show. I'm just going live with you guys. You can hear what I'm talking about on my talk show, and you get a little okay. So all my moderators that are in here, they're going to be talking to you guys, welcoming you in the live room. Please be respectful to anybody, what I'm saying, that are in the chat room. Do not block people that are asking general questions. Please just answer their question to the best of your ability. But if somebody are being majorly rude, then I ask for you to block them, okay? So I'm back again. So once again, because I know the last time I had this topic, my talk show was taken down because they were saying misinformation. So this time I wouldn't actually call that way that the information that I am presenting today are factual information because I actually talked to someone that worked in those departments that gave me this information that I am sharing with you today. So I ask once again, how do they come up with these delta numbers if you do not have any type of kit to test anybody to say whether or not what type of delta strain do they have? You only have Kathy, I made you as a moderator as well, okay? So once again, we need to. These are the questions that we need answered. And I think like we've been getting a running around when it comes to these type of questions that we're having. You know what I'm saying? And my next step is going to be like because of this video that we see all the Democrats saying that they would not take a vaccine up under Donald Trump because they would have to study the vaccine. They wouldn't recommend anyone to get this vaccine. And let's be clear, these are the same vaccine that they're trying to mandate people now to get. Was the same vaccine that came out last year up under Donald Trump. So I guess it was okay for no one to be vaccinated if Donald Trump has still been the president. because they don't trust Donald Trump, and we shouldn't trust. I guess the Republican Party is pretty much. So now that everything is under the Democrat, I guess we supposed to trust the same vaccine that was up under Donald Trump to be effective and safe, because they claim they all took the vaccine, but previously they were saying that they would not be taking that vaccine because it was under Donald Trump. And I do remember Dr. Fauci stating that any vaccine that was made less than a year is not effective. So now he wants us to believe that these vaccines are very much effective because now it's up under the Democrat Party. But last year, these same vaccine, the Moderna and the Pfizer and the Johnson Johnson, they all came out last year. So up under Donald Trump, because remember, Joe Biden just got in the chair January of this year. So it was up under the Trump administration when the vaccine came out. So now you want everybody to be mandated because it's up under you, up under the Democrat, we supposed to believe that it's safe and it is effective and everything else. So when are we going to really get the real truth of what's really going on? You know, now I'm starting to think like, okay, are the hospital really capacitated with COVID patients, with the Delta patient, as they say? Are these numbers really real that they are giving us of cases? Because if you don't have a kid to test anyone for the Delta COVID, how do you know how many cases of Delta COVID do we really have if there's no test to prove what type of strain of COVID that you have, you know? And now that I pretty much got all my answers from, I'm going to call the CDC next, because those are going to be the next people that I interview on these same questions, because I feel like these are the questions that need to be answered by the CDC, because they are the people that are telling everybody that they should be mandated to be vaccinated and stuff like that, and having jobs and stuff to mandate their employees to be vaccinated, and I think if you're going to recommend other people to be vaccinated, I think that you yourself should have been vaccinated with this clinical trial based vaccine, because that's exactly what it is. And that's what I'm going to call it. It's a clinical trial based phase 3 vaccine, because they are not fully approved. And let's be clear that this PCP test that they're using to test you for the coronavirus have known to be also a clinical trial test, and it has not been fully approved. It was for emergency use only, and now we're going into almost 2 years with this whole coronavirus. We need to figure out why the FDA has not approved that yet. I know the coronavirus is real because I had coronavirus, so I'm not going to doubt that. I'm not going to downplay that. I worked on the COVID unit, and I've saw patients for myself that had the coronavirus. So we know that that is to be true. There are cases. Coronavirus is very real. But now the question is about this Delta variant and these other strains of COVID that they're saying that are coming out when they don't actually have any tests to prove that there's any other strain other than the regular COVID. And I asked her, I said, well, what symptoms would I have if I had the Delta COVID for me to know whether or not if I have the regular COVID or do I have the Delta COVID? And she told me clearly that the symptoms for the Delta COVID are the same symptoms as the regular coronavirus. So now, if I can't tell through my symptoms and you don't have a test to tell me which strain of COVID do I have, how do I know if I have the Delta COVID or not? Or do I just have the regular COVID? Is that something that can be explained to us about? And I feel like that's something that you have to ask the question. And when I went on the Moderna website clearly stated that there's no vaccine that is related to COVID has been FDA approval. It went on to tell you that the vaccine may not, I'm going to say may not because that's what it said, may not protect some recipient from COVID. So that means you may still get COVID. And then it went on to say that they have caused myocarditis in myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart. So you may have heart condition due to the vaccine. This is what it was saying on its website. And other side effects as well that it was saying on its website. I want to pull this up because I don't want nobody to say that I'm giving misinformation, because I want to present the evidence to you of what I read. And when I also looked at the database that it was showing me, and didn't even bring up anything in related to the Delta cases. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm all right. Stop it. I'm all right. Stop it. So hold on, you guys. I'm trying to find the link that I had because it was just popped up on my screen, and related to Moderna and the COVID and all that stuff. And it had all the database of all the cases around the world of cases of COVID. Amari, stop it. Yeah, guys, excuse my grandbaby. He has to be seen. I wish I could put this over here. Let me see how I can do that. So I gotta braid this over here so you guys can see. I'm trying to see how I can do this. But anyways, so the cases that I pulled up, it was up under that, up under those cases, and also it was just pretty much telling you about the Moderna and give you the information on the Moderna and stuff like that. I have to really look for it and stuff. But yes, there's no come here. There's to test you for the Delta COVID. The vaccines are still phase 3. She did say that Pfizer had put in to try to get their vaccine approved. But she said whether or not if it was going to be approved or not, she don't know. Hey, Teresa. Hon, did you still want to come on? Did you still want to come on, Teresa? Oh, you're still at work. Okay. So, anyways, over here in the state of Ohio, our government are not, he just said it, that he is not trying to mandate or have any facility to mandate their people to be vaccinated, but some colleges are still trying to mandate their students to be vaccinated. And my daughter had just got a letter saying that they wanted her to be vaccinated because she's going to nursing school and stuff, and she really don't want it to be vaccinated. So I have to go and talk to them. But I'm just saying, that's the information that I have for you guys. So basically, if you are taking these vaccines and stuff like that, you know, like I said, I'm not discouraging anybody from taking the vaccine that want to take it. By all means, you take it. What I'm pretty much trying to do is that because it still hasn't been FDA approval, I don't feel that they should be forcing anybody to be in an experiment to a vaccine that is still a clinical trial based vaccine. And that's pretty much what you are doing. And there's no fact about that because there have not been FDA approval yet. They still don't have enough database to whether or not they're going to prove it themselves. And this is coming from the lady from the FDA. And now they're trying to tell people that we're going to have to give you a booster shot because of this so-called Delta strain that don't nobody have a test to prove whether or not what kind of strain of COVID do you have. They only can test you positive and say if you're positive not for COVID, which have been proven. So now to that being said, my goal is pretty much for people to have their rights. This is start to feel like this is not about the COVID. This is not about vaccine. This is about them want to have power over the American people. Because if it's not FDA approval, then why do you feel the need to have people to be mandated to be vaccinated? And if it's still in the clinical trial base on phase 3, that means you're still studying this vaccine. So why are you not taking people that are coming to you about their side effects in consideration to say, hey, maybe we need to do more research so that way we could get an effective vaccine to the people to prevent the spread of COVID and everything else. That way we know that it's safe and we can figure out why are these vaccines are causing these major reaction to people and why is there so many breakthroughs when it comes to this vaccine. Because the whole ordeal of the vaccine was to prevent the spread of COVID. And if the vaccine is not stopping the spread of COVID, then you have to question yourself, what is the point of me being vaccinated if I still can get COVID and I still have a high chance of passing on to other people? And also that these vaccines does have major side effects to them. So now I'm putting my health at risk even more. We're not claiming that the coronavirus is not real because we know it's real. I know it's real because I had the coronavirus. But what we are trying to say is, how do we know that the Delta or all these other strains that they are saying is spreading like wildfire if you do not have any testing to prove, to show whether or not these people have these Delta strain or not? All you know that they have the coronavirus. And but you're saying that these people, the Delta strains are having a hospital capacitated to where that, they're overflowing with patients in the hospital. And like the FDA lady also said to me, she was like, well, when everybody got vaccinated, they were still wearing their masks and stuff. She said that she told the FDA that it was too soon to tell people to stop wearing masks and social distance. But they had recommended that people to the fully vaccinated people, they can lift off their masks. And then when that happened, all of a sudden, the Delta strain started spreading like wildfire over here. But we're not going to talk about this open border to where we have immigrants that are coming across the border into our cities, into our neighborhoods that have not been tested to say whether or not they have the coronavirus. But yet they still want everybody to believe that the people that are unvaccinated are the ones that are filling the hospitals with Delta cases, even though that there are a lot of fully vaccinated people that have major breakthrough when it comes to being tested positive for the coronavirus. So once again, we have to ask ourselves these questions that I feel like should be answered. But anyways, I'm gonna shut this down for tonight. I will be back on next Monday with some more information in regards to the COVID and the vaccine. Hopefully, I'm gonna have some people that have had major side effects from the vaccine. They really want their voice to be heard. I'm gonna have them to come on live so that way they could be able to tell people their stories of how the COVID vaccine had impacted their lives. I want to make sure that they get their voice heard, and I think they should be heard because they was doing the right thing by getting vaccinated and doing what they need to do to stop the spread of COVID. Unfortunately, they end up getting sick due to these vaccines, and now that they have been sick and they've been trying to get their story out, they feel like they have been ignored. They've been ignored by a government official. They feel like that no one is paying attention to them. Doctors are trying to downplay their symptoms and everything else because they do not want it to be related to the vaccine. But these people was pretty much healthy before being vaccinated, and then all of a sudden after they got vaccinated, they start having these major illness and stuff like that that they're continuously going through right now. And so I want to give them a voice by coming on my show, giving them the opportunity to be able to tell their story on my show. And so I'm going to have these people to come on my show, and I'm going to get them to tell you their stories. Hopefully, by the next time I come on here, because I did have a couple of people that reached out to me. And also, I have a young lady that is from the Caribbean, and she's a cop, and her job is giving her to August the 31st to either get vaccinated or she may lose her job. And she do not want to be vaccinated because she's afraid of being vaccinated. So I wanted to give her a chance to come on here. Unfortunately, she couldn't come on tonight because she had to work, but I want to give her a chance to come on to also tell you her story and what is going on in her country, because this is where everything is coming down to. And I also have people from other countries reaching out to me. I had a young man. He was for I think he was from Africa or somewhere, that he was telling me that their government official was saying that they didn't have that America hasn't sent the vaccine over there for them to be vaccinated because they claim that a lot of people in America has refused the vaccine. And I had informed him. I said, well, according to our news channel, they said that they had already distributed vaccine all over the world to major countries. So I'm not understanding why your government official is saying that they don't have the vaccine to give you guys the vaccine if you want to be vaccinated. And he also was telling me how they was made to still be in the house and stuff like that. And then I had a young lady that was from London, and she was telling me how her mom them was fully vaccinated, but still they was restricted to their house and not able to come out of their house and stuff like that. So this is the stuff that's really going on around this world, and people are reaching out to me every day. So I just want to give different people a chance to be able to come on my show to be able to tell you their stories so they could get their story out there. So hopefully by them telling their story when it comes to the vaccine, that our CDC would take in consideration to do more research on the vaccine to make sure that the vaccine can be really safe for people, and before they continue with this mandation, that they would stop this mandation and say, hey, we may need to pull these vaccines back to do more research because we have all these people are coming out telling us about this vaccine and stuff like that. And we want it to be safe and effective for people because we don't want to keep dealing with COVID. And people do want to get vaccinated. They just don't want the major side effects of these vaccines. And because you have these people that have been fully vaccinated are coming out talking about how the vaccine has affected them and no one is really listening to them, that makes other people skeptical about being vaccinated. So this is where it's at. It's not because of the Trump supporters are that don't want to be vaccinated. There are millions of other people that are not part of the Trump clan or Trump supporter that are still skeptical about being vaccinated, and they don't want to be mandated to be vaccinated. So I'm going to end this talk show for tonight. You guys have a good day, and I will be back next Monday at 8:30. Thanks for everyone that tuned in to this talk show. Once again, it's called Make a Change. If you want to get in contact with me, you can reach me through my email, amanda4n27@gmail.com, or you can go to my YouTube channel called Make a Change. You could also go to my Instagram, Amanda410one. By Facebook, Amanda Fortin. Also, I'm going to be having my own website coming soon, and I'm also going to be having my own network channel coming soon. So those are the things that I'm working on to where people could be able to really reach out to me. So far, I've been having people to reach out to me on TikTok, but I wanted to where you could personally have that one-on-one chance with me to where you want to talk to me to get your story out there. And you really want people to start listening to your story, and you want me to help you to do that, I'll be more than willing. So you'll be able to have a chance to be able to really come and be able to talk to me at that point. So for the meantime, you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in to Make a Change. I will be here next Monday at 8:30.